One day, Tony Tortoise and Skippy Squirrel were taking a walk in the jungle. Suddenly, Tony Tortoise saw a tree full of ripe durians.
Look, there is a durian tree over there,
said Tony Tortoise. This is mine. When they came near the tree, a durian fell to the ground. When Skippy Squirrel saw the durian, he wanted it all to himself. This durian is mine. I came first, said Skippy Squirrel.
But I saw the durian tree first,
argued Tony Tortoise. I must do something. Skippy Squirrel was silent. I must find a way to keep Tony Tortoise from eating this durian, thought Skippy Squirrel to himself. He started to think of ways to achieve this. I have an idea. Then he had an idea. Let's have a competition. Let's see who can climb up the durian tree faster. I will help you climb halfway. If you reach the top before me, I will let you eat this durian, said Skippy Squirrel. Skippy Squirrel hoped that Tony Tortoise would fall from the tree and die.
That's not fair. We should also have another competition. Let's see who can cross to the other side of the river. Whoever wins both the competitions can have all the durians in the tree, said Tony Tortoise. Skippy Squirrel agreed. He was sure that with his heavy shell, Tony Tortoise would sink and drown while crossing the river. Then Skippy Squirrel could have all the durians to himself. I help you until here only. The two animals began climbing the tree first. Skippy Squirrel helped Tony Tortoise climb halfway. After that, he let Tony Tortoise continue climbing by himself. Tony Tortoise's legs were short. He could not climb the tree by himself. He fell to the ground. However, his thick, hard shell saved him and he was not hurt. Skippy Squirrel was not happy. I'm sure he will not make it across the river, thought Skippy Squirrel to himself. Next, Tony Tortoise and Skippy Squirrel walked towards the river for the second competition. The water in the river was flowing swiftly. When they were ready, Tony Tortoise and Skippy Squirrel jumped into the river. Skippy Squirrel hoped that Tony Tortoise would drown. Then he could have all the durians to himself. Unfortunately, Skippy Squirrel couldn't swim. He was drifted away by the strong current. Help! Help me! Shouted Skippy Squirrel. What is it? Suddenly, Skippy Squirrel felt himself standing on something hard. It was Tony Tortoise's shell. Tony Tortoise slowly brought Skippy Squirrel to the riverbank. Hey, it's you! When they reached the riverbank, Skippy Squirrel was shocked to see that it was Tony Tortoise who had saved him. I thought that you have drowned in the river because you cannot swim, stammered Skippy Squirrel. He couldn't believe that Tony Tortoise was still alive. You are mistaken, Skippy Squirrel. I live by the river. Of course, I know how to swim, even though my shell is heavy and my legs are short, explained Tony Tortoise.
Skippy Squirrel was ashamed of himself. He was too greedy. "I'm sorry, Tony Tortoise." He told Tony Tortoise his true intentions. Tony Tortoise was shocked. However, he was very kind and forgave Skippy Squirrel. Then, the two of them went to get the durian together. From that day onwards, Tony Tortoise and Skippy Squirrel became the best of friends. Whenever they came across any fruits in the jungle, they shared and ate the fruits together. "It's tasty."
The flesh is so sweet.